Hello, I'm J. Anthony Thompson, and I am a songwriter, musician, and producer of music. Music for me is an inherited passion. Something I picked up from my family. Part of it was things we had to do. If you were in church, you had to sing. So I had to sing even when I didn't want to sing, and then that sort of turned into wanting to sing. And then from there was my interest in the piano. I'm very drawn to the Hammond organ. I played drums in church, so I just kind of moved from thing to thing, and I loved all of them. And it just evolved into this current age of electronic music, digital music, and studios to want to do all those things combined on a larger scale. But music is an inherited passion for me. The JatWorld Chronicles Volume 1 is really bringing together a definite R&B and soul feel, and all that put together has been kind of seasoned with smooth jazz as interludes throughout the collection of music. But it really has this message of, it's going to get better, we're in this together. And so it really is sort of gives a nod almost to humanity, that we acknowledge each other and that we support each other, sort of a general care. But I think there's also components in this collection of music that if someone, was kind of having a tough time, there's songs in there that they would get encouragement from. So this, again, while it has this R&B and sort of smooth jazz sort of characteristic to it, it definitely has a message as well. What I'm hoping to get from the JatWorld Chronicles is really one to further establish myself as a producer, as a songwriter, as a musician, but really to leverage, what can happen today in music, where you can have one song that doesn't just influence people who are sitting in your living room or show up, to a barbecue or something. I mean, your music literally can be heard all over the world. And I've had that privilege with other songs of mine that somehow have traveled well overseas, almost on accident, but this time it's very much on purpose, to have collections of music that are somewhat theme-based. But, my greatest intention and expectation is that music would travel and it would find its way to the people who are in need of that. I feel the responsibility of songwriters and musicians in some ways is to say for people what they can't say for themselves. We write the songs, we tell their stories, we speak to their hurt, we help them celebrate their victories, we help them to have, a good time. And really most people's memories in their lives are typically glued to a song. And that's what I want to come from the Chronicles. One of the really great things about this project was the opportunity to have my son, Jerry, play a huge role in it. I watched him as a young teen gain an interest in bass guitar, and he has really become highly proficient to the point I consider myself to be a fan of what he does and how seriously he's taken his music. And so he contributed to this project on all but one of the tracks. And, at times, I can just put him in front of a piece of music, and, usually there's a reference bass part that I've already put down, so he can kind of hear where I want to go, what I'm thinking about. And then, we may play through it a couple times and then just sort of turn him loose. So it's really remarkable to see, sort of his own musical character and personality, and the way it really has enhanced, these songs that are part of this first volume of the Chronicles. I mean, he's just a phenomenal musician, and I don't just say that because he's my son, because if he was less than that, anyone who knows me knows that I would tell him that he's just that and has more work to do. And while he'll continue to develop, he just has such a beautiful way of approaching the instrument, and what he wants to say is very well understood. And how many fathers would have the opportunity to do something like this with their own kid. You know, it's pretty cool. I enjoyed it. When you think about it, there's only a couple people who knew, you know, that it was the Chronicles when they got involved in the project, Paula and Latrice. It's okay, I'm working on this project, I want to bring it together. The contributions that Naja made, she didn't know, because it wasn't a thing. We were doing a song or working on something else, or, you know, we were sketching out music for her or something. And then that's one of the things you reach into the vault and say, oh man, this has a message, we can use this. And you kind of polish it up and you kind of get it ready to go. So when you think about Naja Nicole's contribution to the Chronicles, I mean, I've been producing Naja since she was 16. And knew her dad from years back and some other musical work that I did. And he introduced me to her. And I remember the very first time I recorded her, I couldn't believe how powerful and strong her voice was for, you know, such a small frame. She's not, you know, little girl, 16 at the time. And she's worked and developed over the years to become a very, very proficient, you know, performer and lead vocalist. But one of the things that just really stands out about Naja is her ability to do background vocals, which people don't understand how valuable that piece is. But you're talking about someone who's never had to be pitch corrected, who can layer her vocals. Anyone who knows me knows I like to layer, in most cases, very thick vocals. We usually go 4 deep or more with complex parts. You know, when you listen to some of the songs that come in and out on top of each other, and she, you know, without her contribution, the character of these songs would be very, very different with anybody else behind the microphone. So you really can't even talk about Volume 1. Her contributions to that, what she did on Friends, which really was just a sketch. And then what she did for People Make the World Go Round, which is the most recent contribution. Some of the others she actually did a few years back. She really helped to glue the Chronicles together from a vocal standpoint.